You're watching Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Aisha Ashraf, and today we are joined by Dr. Mukarram Zaidi. Welcome to the show, brother.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Salam. Thank you for joining us. So let's talk about your recently book that you wrote. So it's titled Palestine Colonized by a Two-State Solution. Can you tell us what you cover in this book and the inspiration behind writing it?
So we started the project 2 years ago. I am from Pakistan, but I've been following Palestine for a long time. And what the motivation was that the Western media, the European media, does not cover what's happening in Palestine. The people, when they don't hear the news, they don't understand what's happening behind the scene. Palestinians have been under massacre and they're suffering from 1947. While I follow the news and follow different international news media, our children only follow the Western media, and most of the Western people do the same thing. And then because they do not have an appropriate knowledge, they do not object of our government sending funds, arms, ammunition, and support Israel in their right of self-defense, which they don't have. So we started the project as a research project 2 years ago, and we wanted to cover all the bases. The book is designed to be an academic book, a reference book for high school students, for university students to understand that by the Western world and the European world, we are the reason and our support for the plight of suffering. So the book starts from 5000 BC to prove that there were people, Canaanites were living there before Moses arrived or Abraham arrived. And then they arrived into a population that was there, and that they were the indigenous people. And the recent Oxford study has proven that the people from Lebanon and Palestine have the Canaanite DNA. So to prove that, and then going forward, then we have Judaism, Christianity, and Islam all came to the same religion. So people from that land had accepted different religions. Going further, after Islam came, Muslim, Jews, and Christians lived peacefully for many years, till a few hundred years, till the Crusaders arrived. They killed hundreds of people. And then after Salahuddin took over, and again, Muslim, Jews, and Christians were living peacefully. World War II, British takeover, and they gave that gift to Israel. And that's where the plight of suffering and the Nakba starts from 1947. Their land was stolen, people were killed, and the book goes into the detail. And then there were several wars during these 75 years. Then we go into the detail of how the people are living in the West Bank and in Gaza, and their health conditions, their mental health problems, and the educational status, the access to healthcare, schooling, university, and their suffering. And then in the very essence that Palestinians are living under three different rules. For the last 20 years, Gaza is an open-air prison or a concentration camp. West Bank is under martial law. East Jerusalem is under a different law. 2.3 million Palestinians who live in Israel are governed by and differentiated and discriminated by 66 different distinct laws. So 7.1 million Israelis have controlled the life of 7.4 Palestinians and deprived them of any human rights. What nobody talks about is the apartheid that's still going on for the last 50 years. And just recently, Human Rights Watch declared that Israel is guilty of the crimes of apartheid in 2021, Amnesty International in 2022, UN expert in 2022, Ben Salem as well, the Jewish organization. And then these are the organizations that are talking about the suffering under West Bank and an apartheid state. What people don't understand, that a daily life of a Palestinian in the West Bank is full of suffering.
Yeah,
There are 700 road obstacles. And so there's books, and then we go into how the Western media covers that when in Israel, Palestinian...
Ask about that. Sorry to cut you off. I wanted to focus more on the book and of itself as well, especially considering the time that it was released. There's a lot going on in the world. It's at a height right now. People are learning about this for the first time, even for some folks. How was the feedback when it came out? Was it positive? Was it negative? Did you face any backlash? Any people kind of coming at you, this isn't right, or anything like that?
So we have submitted the book in March to a publishing house. We edited, and the book was about to be released in October. Because of the genocide started in Gaza, they dropped the book. So we from Think for Action, we self-published it. News media did not attend our two inauguration functions for the book signing. Then I was speaking to a different reporter on an incident of Islamophobia, and I asked her that none of you have interviewed me for my book. And her words were a quotation that it's not just me. No Canadian reporter would interview you and publish it into the mainstream media. And this comes from the highest level. So my book is officially banned in Canada.
And what do you think, how did that make you feel? What do you think that says about the state of the country and the education that we receive, especially for it being neutral and the way that it's perceived in the media? Why is it important to create these books? And how did you feel after getting that news?
It just verified what the book was written for, because we all know that anytime Canada votes against, in the United Nations against Palestine, that news never makes to the mainstream media. Was it not for TikTok and YouTube, we would not have known the atrocities that are committed on a daily basis, because CBC, Global News, they don't report on what's happening. As soon as somebody is injured in Israel, it's on every social media, every news major organization would report it. And the suffering of Palestinians is kind of hushed down. And so the book to be censored is the next logical step, because this book has no opinions in it. Every incident that the book talks about is referenced. So the book cannot be labeled as anti-Semitic, bunch of lies, because we hired people to go through the entire book and verify every source of the book. So the book cannot be refuted by any means. So the only way that people can't have access to it is not talking in the mainstream media. Because if this book gets into the hand of Caucasian, basically, and European, then they would speak up against the atrocities. And that's what the main media does not want, or the powerful people do not want.
And what kind of research did you undertake for this? And what were some things that maybe shocked you that you might not have known before that you would like to kind of pinpoint for our viewers?
We all know that people are suffering in Palestine. What had shocked me was the verbal, physical, and sexual abuse of Palestinians. 3 to 4 children are abducted every day from Palestine. They are verbally and physically abused as normal. But 1 child in Palestine to 2 are sexually abused every day. The females in the Palestinian prisons are undressed several times. They are sexually abused. Females on every checkpoint are molested several times. They are asked to undress. During this research, now Israeli soldiers before were doing in jails. Now what they've started to do is to go into Palestinian homes and undress females in front of their family. These incidents are, if this would happen to any European or Canadian or American female, the world would have come to fight. But if it's happening to Palestinian female, Palestinian children, and adults who are being subjected to sexual violence, the world sits quiet because they don't even know about it. At each checkpoint, they're molested. And from their home to university, there are several checkpoints. And these youngsters who in Israeli army are kind of used to getting away with all the atrocities they're committed. At the front of my book over here, it kind of shows that this is what's happening in Palestinian prisons. And this is a picture of a Palestinian child, a 15-year-old. And Israeli soldiers hold his testicles so hard till he commits to the crime he never committed, and then he commits to the crimes. So these were the reports that really shocked me, the amount of suffering of mental health, the amount of children trying to commit suicide, anxiety and depression in Gaza, in children, because there is no hope. The attempts to commit suicide, it's just shocking and moving you. And after reading the book, if you do not stand for human rights for the people of Palestine, I really don't know what to tell you.
Thank you so much for sharing about that. I think that is a really important topic that really goes under the rug. Is there anywhere where people can purchase your book online or in person?
So at the clinic I work, the pharmacy selling the book. It's available on Amazon and Apple as well.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for coming to our show and for discussing the book with us. I hope folks at home go and take a read because it's really important work.
Can I just have one last message?
Yep, go ahead.
My last message would be that for people who are listening to this interview, I would request them to ask their libraries to get the book. So the book could be in every library, so they don't have to spend money in asking their respective libraries to get the book wherever they are.
Perfect. Jazakallah. Thank you so much for sharing, brother.
Thank you for having me. Assalamu
alaikum. You're watching Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. Thank you for joining us. For more Muslim content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.